Customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you.
Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with Chief Revolution Officer and best-selling author, John DiJulius. Today's podcast is all about being revolutionary. In order to be a revolutionary, you need to understand the mindset of a revolutionary. You need to be aware of the reality distortion field. And you can never say or accept, I gave my best. And you have to ask yourself, what belief system needs to be changed in my world? Now here's your revolutionary host, John DiJulius.
This week, I want to present on what it truly takes to be a revolutionary. Whether you are a CEO, leader, mid-level manager, frontline employee, or just a person with a dream, it all starts with having a vision of what could be. A true purpose is a vision of how you will make the world a better place. A captivating vision inspires people to become evangelists around a movement. It's not the great idea that works. It's the great passion behind it. Every original idea was met with eye-rolling and laughing. That is why most are killed long before they can ever become great. If you have a great idea, put on a bulletproof vest and get after it. Passion is the emotional fuel that drives your vision. It's what you hold on to when your ideas are being challenged and people turn you down. When you are rejected by the so-called experts and the people closest to you. It's the fuel that keeps you going when there's no outside validation for your dream. First, you need to believe in yourself. Don't waver. There will be people that don't think like you do, that don't have your vision, who can't comprehend being a visionary. My least favorite saying is, I gave my best. To me, it's an unacceptable crutch. I don't want to hear it. My personal feeling is this: when the goal is to accomplish greatness, go where no team has ever gone before, your best won't be good enough. Your best is what you were capable of in the past. You have to figure it out, to try 1,000 ways. If need be, try 1,000 more. Innovate, lose sleep, get around it, find loopholes, research, sweat like you never have before. Every extraordinary accomplishment, invention, or revolution was not a result of someone giving his or her best. Somehow, that person or group found a way to do what no one else could do. They did the impossible. Back when Apple was just a startup, one of the first things new employees were taught, sometimes the hard way, was that their leader, Steve Jobs, has a reality distortion field. The reality distortion field enabled Jobs and Apple to inspire his team to change the course of computing history with a fraction of the resources of Xerox and IBM. They did the impossible because they didn't realize it was impossible. The reality distortion field was a combination of Jobs' charismatic style, indomitable will, and an eagerness to bend any fact to fit the purpose at hand. Even though Apple employees were aware of what Jobs was doing, they would eventually give up and go along with it and end up doing the impossible. How can you create your own reality distortion field? Steve Jobs' Reality Distortion Field was a personal refusal to accept limitations that stood in the way of his ideas, to convince himself and anyone on his team that anything was in fact possible. Each of us has the opportunity to create such a field. What we consider possible and impossible are merely the way we were pre-programmed and consensus thinking about artificial boundaries. What ideas and thoughts do you need to become unrealistic about? For centuries, man tried to find a way to break the 4-minute mile. Legend has it that they even had lions chase men to see if that helped them run faster. Unfortunately, that did not end too well. By the early 1950s, all the medical experts had determined that the human body was simply not capable of eclipsing a 4-minute mile pace. It wasn't just dangerous, it was impossible. The human body had reached its limit. Then on May 6, 1954, Roger Bannister made history and shocked the world when he broke the 4-minute mile barrier. The impossible was made possible. Could this feat ever happen again? Well, within the next 12 months, 24 more runners broke the 4-minute mile mark. So I ask you, what happened in those 12 months? Did the human anatomy change? No. The belief system of what people thought was possible had changed. This applies to every aspect of our lives. Let me ask you, what belief system needs to be changed in your world?
Have you ever considered being your own boss in a customer service career? If coaching businesses to service excellence excites you, CX Coaching may be the opportunity you've been dreaming about. Email Claudia at the DiJulius Group for more information.
My brain has a positive filtering system. I can't help it. I was born with it. I find gifts in everything. I have found many in this pandemic. However, the biggest one is immeasurable. One that I hope that will last long after I'm gone. My youngest son, Bo, who's one of the most amazing human beings you could ever meet, has been through a lot, starting at a very young age. All of this has resulted from him struggling with self-esteem, high anxiety, making poor decisions, and battling with depression. As a single parent, I am fortunate to have a great support system. While my career has always required me to travel every week, we have the world's best nanny. Bo is in a great school system, and he keeps very active in participating in sports 12 months a year. However, it wasn't until this pandemic, the quarantine, where my travel was forced to come to a screeching halt. I have been home every single day and night. It was then I realized why none of Bo's problems were getting better. Because I was allowing nannies, teachers, and coaches to spend more time with him, raise him more than I was. I know it probably looks obvious to many, but I wasn't seeing it. And if it wasn't for the pandemic, I probably never would have. The last 8 months, we have become so much closer. I have seen his self-esteem increase, a dramatic reduction in his bouts with anxiety and depression. He's making great choices, and most of all, a happy kid who just turned 18. For that reason, the pandemic was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Thank you for shaking us and showing us we are dependent on something much bigger than we think. Thank you for making us appreciate the luxury we lived in, abundance of products, freedom, health, and realizing we were taking it for granted. Thank you for stopping us to to make us see how lost we were in the busyness, not having time for the most basic things. Thank you for allowing us to put aside all our problems we thought were so important and showing us what is actually important. Thank you for stopping the transport. The earth was begging us to look at the pollution for a very long time. We didn't listen. Thank you for all the fear. It has been a global disease for years, but not many of us wanted to face it. And now we have to face it and learn how to embrace it with love and with the support of our community. Thank you for this reevaluation of our lives. Thank you as we finally understand what it means that we are all connected. Thank you for the unity between all of us. We knew the world has to change. Thank you for helping us to undermine everything and giving us a chance to build the world from the very beginning.
This virus is part of us. It's between us, in us. It connected us all, either physically or energetically. Gratitude supports the immune system, but also lets us see things from many perspectives. And it's up to us which perspective we will choose, but best is to be aware of all of them.
You are a revolutionary if, and only if, you are fascinated by the future, restless for change, impatient for progress, and deeply dissatisfied with the status quo. As a revolutionary, you are never satisfied with the present because in your head, you can see a better future. And the friction between what is and what could be burns you, stirs you, and propels you forward. Let's go start a revolution. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give the Customer Service Revolution podcast a thumbs up and write us a review. To hear more episodes, subscribe now on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening and for being part of the Customer Service Revolution.